One of the more interesting comments I kept seeing after my recent Modern Warfare 4 video about Laswell taking over Shadow Company actually had nothing to do with Captain Price or even the campaign itself. Instead, many of you guys pointed out something that I quite frankly didn't even notice. It was that the newly redesigned Shadow Company logo that we seemingly are getting in Modern Warfare 4 looks quite similar to the Sentinel Task Force logo from 2014's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Here, take a look for yourself. Once put side by side, I could see why so many people were making a connection. Both logos kinda have this Spartan style helmet in the front, both use similar colors, and if you zoom out, to be honest, they look kinda the same from a distance. I mean, it was clearly enough to make a lot of you guys wonder or even question it. So I decided to explore that topic just a little bit today. And the question that I wanted to ask is, could Infinity War be hinting that the Shadow Company eventually becomes the Sentinel Task Force? Now, when looking at this without much thought, it seems kind of cool and maybe like a fun idea, especially if some of our theories regarding Modern Warfare 4 are correct and Shadow Company are run by the CIA and Laswell, with Graves losing a lot of control over his past actions in MW2 and MW3, and the CIA kind of blackmailing him for that control. Some might say that this would make it much easier to believe that the PMC would naturally change as the years would go on, and they would develop a whole new identity eventually. Maybe under the leadership of the CIA and the watchful eye of Kate Laswell, the Shadow Company is turned into a more structured PMC that are actually held accountable, or held a bit more accountable than they were before when General Shepard and Commander Graves were running things. If that were the case, the suggestion or the theory that Shadow Company becomes Sentinel decades later is interesting, if nothing else. The more that I thought about it though, the more I started running into one major problem, and it's the timeline. It simply doesn't add up. Like, at all. Even if Shadow Company is completely rebuilt by the end of Modern Warfare 4, this would be happening in what, 2026? The Sentinel Task Force, according to the lore and the story of Advanced Warfare, isn't created until about 2056, after the KVA launched a coordinated attack on nuclear power stations around the world. That's about a 30-year gap between the two organizations. Now, 30 years isn't impossible for a PMC or a military organization to survive, we know that. But Sentinel is never ever described as being an older company revived or operating under a new name and a new logo. It was always presented as a brand new international task force formed specifically in response to a global crisis happening in the world of advanced warfare. So let's take a quick look, and I mean a very quick look, at the history of Sentinel Task Force, why they were formed, and their role in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. In 2056, after the KVA attacks, Sentinel is assembled to combat the new terrorist threat. As the Atlas Corporation rises to power, Sentinel shifts its attention towards Jonathan Irons, the Atlas CEO and founder. Now, eventually, Sentinel is one of the only organizations fighting against Atlas, and Sentinel would eventually achieve their goal of exposing Atlas and ridding the world of Jonathan Irons.
We were formed 4 years ago, a US-led multinational unit, codename Sentinel. Our mission, to investigate the KVA attacks and prevent anything like that from ever happening again.
These events are extremely important to the formation of Sentinel Task Force and who they are. I think if we just rebranded them as Shadow Company or changed their origins, it would really weaken them. And I don't think it would be fair to the established lore in Advanced Warfare. Hell, you risk messing up the universe and timeline even more. Kind of like the Black Ops universe, which, yeah, I know it's all supposed to be connected now, but fuck that. Okay, that whole thing, that's actually a whole other thing. Now, the thing is that if you do decide to mix these two organizations, you're not being fair to the fans of Shadow Company. I mean, Shadow Company now, as it stands with Commander Graves, it has like a complete fandom. People love Graves, people love the Shadows, people love cosplaying as them. Like, I have, subscribers and people that comment all the time that, they'll dress up as Shadow Company operators. Like, they are a whole fandom and people love Graves. If you tell them that, maybe Shadow Company eventually turns into Sentinel Task Force, they might not like that. And then you have people that love Sentinel Task Force for what they stand and their good values and doing the right thing. And people might get pissed off that you're associating them with Shadow Company, who at the end of the day still committed some sort of war crimes and potentially did or did not kill civilians in Mexico. Like you're mixing two completely different ideologies and ways of thinking, and I don't know that people would necessarily like that. In theory, again, it sounds kind of cool, but when put into practice, it might not be as cool. So look, I'm clearly hesitant on this whole theory. And shit, I could be wrong. I mean, anything is fucking possible in these games, especially nowadays. But I will say, coming up with theories and coming up with different stories is normal and fun, and I get that. So overall, I wouldn't say feel dumb or feel some type of way for suggesting a theory or coming up with a theory. I mean, I have many theories. More theories actually that are wrong than the ones that have been right. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. But alright, let's get back to the point here. I think we have to remember when these games were made. Advanced Warfare released back in 2014. At that point, the Modern Warfare reboot didn't really exist. Philip Graves hadn't been created, Kate Laswell hadn't been thought of, the reboot version of General Shepard didn't exist either, and the modern version of Shadow Company that fans know today, I don't even think was a concept yet. So, with all the changes that are constantly happening in the world of Call of Duty, like new leadership changes, new co-heads coming in, new writers, and the countless times that they want to return to their roots, making Modern Warfare, Black Ops, or whatever other game, I doubt that they had a plan back then to later introduce Shadow Company as the origins of Sentinel Task Force when they didn't really even know what they were going to do with Shadow Company at the time. And to be quite frank with you, Advanced Warfare was made by Sledgehammer Games, and I don't know that Infinity Ward has that much of a close relationship with Sledgehammer Games. And it's funny to say because they're all under the same umbrella of Call of Duty and Activision. But, you know, Sledgehammer Games and Infinity Ward already had their problems working on MW3 kind of together, with Sledgehammer Games feeling like they were chained to what Infinity Ward were doing. So I don't know that Infinity Ward want to remember something that Sledgehammer Games created in Sentinel Task Force. I mean, that's just my like thinking behind it, or maybe they thought it'd be like a cool Easter egg for some like longtime fans, kind of like the Joseph Allen Easter egg included in the Kill Block trailer. I mean, those things could happen, but honestly, guys, as much as I would love for Infinity Ward to officially acknowledge Advanced Warfare and confirm that these games do indeed exist in the same universe and potentially tease a Advanced Warfare 2, I'm not too sure that the evidence is there just yet. I think the timeline creates way too many problems for me, and Sentinel's backstory doesn't naturally fit with Shadow Company's history. So, again, it just makes a connection very difficult to justify, in my opinion. For now, I think that the most likely explanation is the simplest one. It's just a new logo that kind of looks like this old logo, and that's it.